Okay, my expectations on the math may be a little out of whack for the second question on assignment 5 with respect to the first data set. So in the first data set, you have a bunch of sourcing and hiring information. Okay, I'm going to assume you can do the yields for each of the stages and calculate the total cost based on the information given. Where it gets tricky is when it is what is the impact to the total cost if you increase one of the source, the most economical source, if you increase its share of hiring by 15%. Okay, so I'm going to show how you figure that out. So I'm going to use an example where I've got source 1, and source 1, I've got 20 hires. Okay, 20 hires from source 1, 7 from source 2, 36 from source 3, and 28 from source 4. Okay, so that's a total of 91. So in total, we've hired 91 people, and they've come from these 4 sources. To figure out the impact if we increase one of them by 15%, the first thing we need to do is figure out how much they represent right now. So, to figure that out, I need to go 20 divided by 91 times 100. Okay? That's going to equal 22%. Okay, so that's for source 1. Then I do it again for source 2, and again for source 3, and again for source 4. Okay? Now this is relatively easy to do in Excel, but I want to do it this way just so we don't miss anything. Okay, so we got 22% of our hires from source 1, 8% from source 2, 40% from source 3, and 31% from source 4. Okay? That's what happened. The question is, what happens if you increase the most economical one by 15%? So, the most economical one in this one is S4. You can't tell that by the information on the board, but it is the least expensive, getting our most bang for buck. So this is the one I want to increase. So to increase it 15%, it's going to, we're just going to add 15% here, which means it's going to come up to 43%. Okay? So it's going to go from 31 to 43%. So how many people then would that equal? Well, what we want to do is we want to times 91, because we're going to keep hiring this. We're not changing the amount we're hiring here. Okay? We're going to hire 91. We want to find out the impact, right, if we actually got 43% of our hires from source 4 instead of 28. So 43% of 91, so we're going to go 43, right? And we're going to times that by 91. And what we come up with is 37 people, okay? So instead of 28, it's going to be 37. Now here comes the issue. So we're still hiring 91, right? We're still going to hire 91. The question is, what is the distribution between all the other sources? Did we take, so 37 so we're adding 9 people are going to be coming from source 4, which is 37 minus 28. Did those 9 people all come from source 1? Did they all come from source 2? Did they all come from source 3? Or did they kind of come from all the other ones at the same proportion as they were here? And that's the answer. So the question is, how do you figure out these numbers? So how you figure out these numbers is you want to figure out how these numbers here are related to each other without the 28, okay? Without source 4. So we're going to figure out how source 1, 2, and 3 are related to each other proportionally, eliminating source 4 for now, okay? So what we're going to do is if we add up, if we take the 28 off of the 91, okay, we come up with 63. Okay, so we're going to eliminate the 28. We're eliminating source 4. If we do that, we've got 63. So we're pretending here at the moment that this isn't in the equation. Okay, that's what we're pretending for the moment. So we've got 63. That's the number we hired. Well, the question is, how much, what is the proportion of source 1, 2, and 3 of 63? So to figure that out, of course, we're going to go, let me just erase this. Okay, so we've got 63 here. We're going to go 20 divided 63 times 100, 7 divided by 63 times 100, 36 divided by 63 times 100, okay? So this is how they relate to each other without source 4. What we get is 32%, okay, 11%, and 57%. Then to figure out the proportion of people here, what we want to do is, again, we're still hiring 91, right? But out of that 91, 37 have come from source 4, which means the remaining is distributed here between source 1, 2, and 3. Well, what is the remaining? Well, the remaining is 91 minus 37, which is 54. So we've got 54 hires that we need to distribute here. To distribute them here, we know how these 3 sources relate to each other when we get rid of source 4, and we're just going to use the same proportions, okay? So we're going to say it's source 1 is going to be 32% of 54. 32% of 54 is 17. Source 2 is 11% of 54, which is 6. And source 3 is going to be 57% of 54, which is 31. Okay? So if we add this up, you'll see we get to 54. Okay? 54, 37 is 91. Now we know how the distribution gets reset when we add 15% to our most economical one. Then what we want to do is we want to take these numbers here and recalculate the total cost of the hiring and understand the value of focusing on increasing your most economical channel.